It's the Full Court Press with Eric Frandsen and Jason Walker.
Welcome back to the to the show that we're doing right now.
Following the local teams, breaking down the biggest games with in-depth analysis and team interview. Join the show by calling into 435-752-1069 or text 435-339-0321. It's the Full Court Press.
Throws, ends up, yes! Caught! Touchdown, did he get it?
Welcome on in. It's Friday, everybody. You made it through the week. We have made it to the weekend. We can see it from here. Big night tonight for high school basketball as our local teams finish up their regular season. We'll let you know who's playing where, how you can follow along on our family of radio stations and online to watch the games. A lot of these games, a couple games on the road, but there are ways to watch these games. Also let you know what's going on. The latest with the Mountain West games coming up this weekend. Utah State at Wyoming. We'll hear from Coach Jerrod Calhoun a little bit later on in the show as he met with the media earlier this afternoon, previewing the matchup between the Aggies and the Cowboys. We'll hear from the latest in conference realignment and expansion, because that's what we're all about on this show. There's some weird stuff going on with the WAC. There's weird stuff going on with Sacramento State. We'll get into all of that. And continue to look at what's going on this weekend. Also, the big game on Sunday, which you can hear here on The Fan on Sunday afternoon. Lots of pregame, full game coverage, full play-by-play here on 106.9 FM, 1390 AM with the Super Bowl with Seattle and New England squaring off against each other. But before we get into any of that, there is some high drama and controversy in Utah County. No, it doesn't have anything to do with one particular school on a 3-game losing streak. It's all about what's going on with Utah Valley, the other school in that area. Joining us now here on the Full Court Press, Brice Larson. He is the host of Brice and Bianucci on ESPN The Fan in Salt Lake and a broadcaster on the Wolverine Sports Network. And Brice, you got to help us set the stage here. I know there's been some realignment going on. Schools are leaving to different conferences. Certainly there's been a lot of headlines around here with the Pac-12 versus the Mountain West, one conference versus another. But down in Orem, we've got one conference versus one of their member institutions, and it's getting nasty.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Utah Valley has been a member of the Western Athletic Conference for quite some time, going all the way back to about 2013 or so. And they've been great members of the conference since then. Well, eventually, a lot of teams, there's been a lot of conference realignment that's hit the Western Athletic Conference. As you know, New Mexico State, Grand Canyon, and other schools have decided all to leave, which has prompted Utah Valley University to look around at their surroundings. And they made the decision about a year ago now to leave the WAC to go to the Big West Conference. That decision has obviously come full circle now. It's going to be effective July 1st of 2026. But in order to do so, there's always the battle of the exit fees and everything else. Well, right now, the lawsuit recently came down. You saw it announced by Pete Thamel not too long ago, that the Western Athletic Conference is seeking those exit fees of up to $1 million from Utah Valley University, in which President Astrid Jimenez wrote to the WAC on January 22nd of this year and said, UVU will not pay an exit fee. And that's where we stand right now, as Utah Valley, according to the bylaws, is not in good standing with the Western Athletic Conference, so they're not allowed to play in the postseason. And just as of yesterday, all the home games that are supposed to be broadcast on ESPN Plus going forward are no longer permitted to be broadcasted going forward. So we're in quite the mess down here.
Wow. And so it's not only squabbling over money, it's now they're restricting access. That's insane. Now there's been Utah State, a couple other schools that are leaving the Mountain West. They're filing suits against the Mountain West over exit fees and things like that. But for the WAC, this is a conference that's crumbling. A lot of schools are leaving. Utah Tech, Southern Utah, aren't they also members? But they don't have. Then they're leaving. They don't have the same restrictions placed on them. Is it just that they've ponied up, or there's something different going on with Utah Valley?
So there's something different going on between the three schools that are from the state of Utah. Utah Tech and Southern Utah later on. So what the Western Athletic Conference is doing is that they're going to rebrand and roll over into a merger with the ASUN Conference. Together, the ASUN and the three remaining schools in the WAC, which is UT Arlington, Abilene Christian, and Tarleton State, will become the United Athletic Conference. So because of that, Utah Tech and Southern Utah, they were planning, because they have football, they were planning on sticking around with the United Athletic Conference. At least that's how the reports have gone. But the UAC and the ASUN, because there's so many teams that are further out east, like West Georgia, Eastern Kentucky, some random schools there, they said, I don't think we want to go to Utah. They didn't have Utah Tech and Southern Utah as part of those future plans. So because of that, the WAC, what's been reported, has done them a solid and said, you don't need to worry about your exit fees because you're not part of the plan going forward in the United Athletic Conference. And they allowed them to submit that they were going to leave to go to the Big Sky Conference and join Weber State in the future with all the Big Sky schools. So there's a little bit of a difference between what's happened with Utah Valley and Southern Utah, Utah Tech. The other portion of this is that Utah Valley made the decision to leave on their own, and that was before the conference had made that decision to rebrand and move over to the United Athletic Conference. So they're it feels like they're blaming Utah Valley University for the fall of the Western Athletic Conference.
So they're placing all the blame and trying to squeeze as much out of them as they can on the way out the door?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, essentially, is what it looks like right now.
So they do have, as a conference, you have some ability to control like who participates in your postseason events and who even appears on television, I guess. And so they're flexing on this. So what's the remedy here? Does Utah Valley just take it on the chin and say, no, we're not going to pay that $1 million, whether we appear on TV or not, it doesn't matter? Or do they still have to capitulate? Because it looks like they're the top team in the conference, at least what I saw just the other day. This is a good basketball program that has an opportunity to have that automatic qualifier to the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, this was a basketball team that was down at San Diego State in the non-conference that took them to the final 3 minutes, and they were tied with 3 minutes to go and just ran out of gas down the stretch. This is a team that can make noise in the NCAA tournament if they're able to win that WAC tournament. The problem is they have to be eligible for that. So a couple of things that I know of that could happen in the coming weeks. Number one, the most obvious is pay the $1 million. Find $1 million, pay it, and put this all behind you. I don't know if that's the most likely scenario going forward, especially with what President Astrid Tamina has put in writing to the Western Athletic Conference saying UVU will not pay an exit fee. So the second possibility that I know of is there a chance that Utah Valley could get in front of a judge in Texas, because this is where the lawsuit was filed, and be able to get some sort of injunction or restraining order to be able to at least have the eligibility come back in all of this until they can sort out the amount that they're going to pay later on. That's the second option that's, I think, probably the most likely coming up here in the next couple of weeks. The third option would obviously be just take it on the chin, continue to say you're not paying it, and if you can't get a restraining order and you really, really want to try and stand on business for whatever reason, then you're going to be ineligible for postseason play. I'm not sure that is the way that this is all going to go, because this affects more than just a really good basketball team. There's a track and field team that's going to indoor championships coming up on the 28th of February. There's also a baseball team that went to a regional last year, beat Oregon on the road in the regional, in the first game of the regional, and brought back a ton of seniors, plus went to the portal and pulled every single good player from the state of Utah from the portal, from Utah, from BYU, and from Utah Tech. And it's a loaded baseball roster going into its final year in the Western Athletic Conference with a real chance to do some damage in terms of the baseball season. So I don't see that happening that Utah Valley stays ineligible for the postseason. I think we're probably going to see a resolution in the coming weeks, but I only know so much, so we'll see what ends up happening.
Now, isn't there going to be a change? The university president position, is Astrid Jimenez, is she already out, or it's just announced that she will be done at the end of this year?
So she announced that she is going to step away from being the president in May. So this is her final couple of months. And yeah, it's her final stand as president of the university. The Board of Regents is currently meeting to decide who's going to become the next president of the university. And they're going to try and have that replacement announced rather soon. But other than that, yeah, this is her last few months, and this is her last big thing to deal with as she is on her way out the door.
Wow. Yeah, no lack of controversy to go out on a bang. So this Utah Valley basketball team, a solid team. This is a basketball program, I think, that gets under discussed in the state because they've had a pretty good track record here recently of kind of a similar storyline to Utah State, where it's been a good basketball program. There have been different coaches in and out, but they seem to continue to sustain a pretty high level of basketball. What can you tell us about this team this year and why that is that they've been able to be so competitive, even though they've had some coaching changes over the last several years?
Yeah, one thing that I think has been the most important over the last couple of years in terms of why this school has been so competitive with multiple different coaches is the ability to hire under the radar coaches. You go back to Mark Pope, but not a lot of people really knew who Mark Pope was as a coach at the time. Jerrod Calhoun, following Dick Hunsaker, thought, hey, this is probably the best move going forward. And it all starts with the athletic director in Jerrod Calhoun. So after Mark Pope, obviously Mark Madsen came in, another phenomenal hire. And then that just transitioned into his associate head coach, who is now Todd Phillips, who won multiple junior college national championships at Salt Lake Community College. So that alone, just the succession of coaches, and you guys know it really well with Utah State. You've seen it. You fill one good coach with another great coach, and it just continues that line of great hiring one after another, and it builds that program up despite losing a ton on the roster side of things. So if you get that right coach in there, I think that's a really important play. This year specifically, I think the ability of Todd Phillips to understand how a roster is going to turn over, just from his track record in the JUCO level, where he was working with kids who were only there for 2 years, it's very similar now in the transfer portal era. Todd Phillips can go out, recruit a roster, understand that those kids are probably only going to be here for a year, and have a plan set up in place for recruiting purposes to go out and put another elite roster together once again. And where a lot of teams are taking 3 to 4 years and the clock kind of turns over every so often and you only get a good team every 3 or 4 years, you want a former JUCO head coach in there that knows what this game is about, that knows what he's looking for, and that's what makes him so successful, and that's what Todd Phillips has been able to do in his time at Utah Valley over the last couple of years. Of course, finding those guys that can play at the Division I level, like Isaac Davis, like Braden Housley, right? 2 guys that were at Utah State a year ago.
I was going to ask you about them, yeah.
Those types of pieces who have that Division I experience that can come down and play right away and give you that sort of senior leadership, even though they're young in age, they've got that experience in their back pocket. Yeah,
so I'm sure a lot of Aggie fans kind of curious, as those are some familiar names, guys who did wear Aggie jerseys. Some we saw more than others. We didn't see a lot of Housley because he was hurt, and we didn't really see him for the vast majority of the season. Isaac Davis got some play here and there. So how are they fitting in at Utah Valley, where it looked like Coach Calhoun here in Logan felt like he needed to go in a little bit different direction and basically counseled them that if they want to play, they need to find another destination. And they didn't go too far. And how are they fitting in at Utah Valley, and what kind of an impact are they having on the team?
Well, Isaac Davis, to start, is having a huge impact. He started the majority of the games so far this year. Just the other night, ended up with the SportsCenter, the number 1 play on the SportsCenter top 10 plays. Is a phenomenal dunk that was inbounds play from the baseline. He went back and grabbed it and threw it down at Tarleton State. He's had some good games. His biggest issue so far this season has been trying to stay out of foul trouble, so they haven't been able to keep him out there on the floor for too long, whether it's getting into foul trouble or picking up technical fouls here and there. That's been his biggest issue, but he provides that secondary scoring that you need behind a guy like Jackson Holcomb, who's the leading scorer for this team. Just another dude that's inside, that's incredibly athletic. I think he's a lot more athletic than the athletes you see down low in the Western Athletic Conference, which has given Utah Valley, even though they don't have the most size, they've given them a really big advantage in terms of just the athleticness of that starting five. Braden Housley, really good ball handler. Todd Phillips really loves the ability to put him in, especially against teams in the WAC that continually press. There's a lot of pressure, up in your face defense in the WAC, especially Texas style of basketball. It's a full court press 100% of the time, always in your face. And Braden Housley brings the ability to just control the basketball and get it from point A to point B safely. And that's what Braden Housley really is out there for in terms of running that point guard position alongside Trevor Meinhardt. So they fit in really well, and they'll be a big feature of this team should they be eligible and be able to make it to the NCAA tournament.
One other player that I find fascinating on the roster is the younger brother of now former Jazzman, Taylor Hendricks. Tyler Hendricks finds his way to Utah Valley. Did he come here mostly because his brother was in Utah playing for the Jazz, or how did that process work? Do you know?
Yeah, so they're actually twin brothers. You wouldn't look at them.
Oh, twin brothers. Okay.
You wouldn't look at them and think that they're twin brothers because Taylor is a much larger dude than Tyler is. Taylor, I was told by Tyler that this last offseason, Taylor put on like 40 to 50 pounds in the offseason working out with the Utah Jazz. But in terms of the reason why he came here, yes, the biggest reason was so that his mom could go and watch both Taylor and Tyler and be able to live here in the state of Utah. So really unfortunate news that we just got a couple of days ago about his brother getting traded to Memphis. So now that kind of puts it into, their family into a little bit of a flux situation. So Tyler, though, he's played phenomenal. He's a transfer from UCF. He was there with Taylor at the time. Ended up obviously playing another year at UCF before transferring over this last offseason. He currently sits as the fourth best three-point shooter in the country, shooting at almost 50% from beyond the arc. And he takes a lot of shots, too.
Wow.
So that's a really impressive mark for him. This next offseason, probably going to hit the transfer portal, for being honest, and he is going to go and find money somewhere at the Power 4 level once again.
Well, maybe he'll end up back in Memphis.
Possibly, yeah. Penny Hardaway.
Who knows? One last thing I wanted to ask you about, again, Brice Larson. He is a host of Brice and Bianucci on ESPN The Fan in Salt Lake, and also a broadcaster on the Wolverine Sports Network. Utah State facing Grand Canyon. We've seen, like, when schools have conference realignment and schools move up to the Mountain West, they've had some success at whatever level they were at, notably from WAC schools moving up to the Mountain West. The history shows that they may be successful in that conference, but when they move to the Mountain West, the first year or two is a bit of a struggle. That hasn't been the case with Grand Canyon. They've hit the floor running, and this has been a really good team. They punked the Aggies in Phoenix. As members in the WAC, you saw this team up close many times. What have you seen so far out of them, and why is that not a surprise to you to see what they're doing so far in the Mountain West?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And if it wasn't for Grand Canyon, Utah Valley probably would have been to 3, maybe 4 different NCAA tournaments at this time. There's so many times that UVU has gotten to the semifinal or the final of the Western Athletic Conference tournament down in Vegas, and they lose to Grand Canyon. Always great Grand Canyon schools. The biggest difference between the schools are Grand Canyon has a ton of resources, like 80,000 plus students, that when you add the on-campus students plus the online students, so they have just a massive alumni base, but also the way that they set up the athletic department, I want to be very careful about the way that I state this. The way that they had set it up in the first place was very advantageous by way of athletics for Grand Canyon. They currently, I don't know if you know this, have a stock ticker. It is on the New York Stock Exchange called Grand Canyon Education, and the stock ticker name is LOPE because they're the Lopes. So you can look into that as much as you want. I know that there was a pending lawsuit with the Department of Education not too long ago looking into Grand Canyon University. There's a lot of money behind that athletic department. So that's why it didn't surprise me that when they left the Western Athletic Conference to go into the Mountain West, that they could immediately take those resources and put it into recruiting, the transfer portal, NIL, and getting those big-time players. I was actually really surprised that a guy at Gonzaga right now, Tyon Grant Foster, decided to leave Grand Canyon and go to Gonzaga for his final year because I figured that they were going to have enough money to keep him around. That just shows you the type of talent that was on their roster when they went to the NCAA tournament a season ago and in the previous couple of years. And then also their head coach, Brice Drew. He's a really, really good head coach. He's phenomenal at what he does. And it really didn't surprise me when they stepped in and were knocking on the door in the Mountain West Conference right away.
Well, they speaking of the money, and I guess we can question morals as well with some of the things that they're doing. But there's another player that had 10 games in the NBA at least, and now he's decided he wants to go back to college, and his first visit is with Grand Canyon.
Yeah. That's that. Yeah,
I don't know. It shouldn't surprise anyone, apparently.
Right. That's just the type of resources and the way that they are able to pull in big time talent. And yeah, it shouldn't be surprising that they're so competitive in the current landscape of college athletics. I mean, just a couple of years ago, as a Western Athletic Conference team, they won multiple games, beat St. Mary's in the NCAA tournament, went on to play, I believe, Arkansas, and was right there at the end with a really good Eric Musselman Arkansas team just a couple of years ago in the NCAA tournament and almost made it 3 games into the tournament. So that's the type of talent that they're able to bring in. And as you can tell, and I know that your fan base knows very well, very intense student section in terms of
yes.
what they like to get into.
Yes, and even during the game and before the game, crossing the line with giving out people's phone numbers and calling and texting at all hours of the night. So,
no doubt about it.
Yeah,
I'm curious to see how much of their fan base shows up to Vegas, because that was their big deal in the WAC as well. They would fly and bus and somehow get a lot of fans down to Las Vegas for the conference tournament. So I'm really curious to see how it turns out this year.
That's going to be juicy because Aggies travel well. New Mexico travels well. Depending on the year, Boise travels well. I don't think they're going to travel well this year, but that could be. And San Diego State has a good fan base who shows up too. So with Grand Canyon in the mix as well, it could be some fun in the stands.
Yeah, I'm considering making a pass over by the Thomas and Mack to watch a couple of those games just to see how it all turns out.
Well, Brice, I'm fascinated to see what's going on with Utah Valley and the WAC with teams moving all over the place. It just seems really in poor taste to take this out on the student athletes and deny them opportunities. Work it out with the university, work it out in the courts, but let the players still play and get the opportunities for postseason. That just really seems underhanded with what's going on at the WAC. So we'll continue to watch it closely, and we may have you back on again to give us more updates on what's going on in the WAC UVU drama.
Okay, sounds good. Anytime you need me, just reach out. I'll be glad to hop on with you guys.
Excellent. Brice Larson, host of Brice and Bianucci on ESPN The Fan in Salt Lake City, and host on the play-by-play voice on the Wolverine Sports Network. Thanks, Brice. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be right back here on the Full Court Press. Let's continue talking about some weird stuff going on with college teams trying to move and wanting to move. Some latest news about Sacramento State. We've talked about them quite a bit. They're making some new overtures about trying to get into the FBS level for football. What are they willing to pay and what are they willing to give up to make it happen? We'll give you the latest next on the Full Court Press.
Retirement. Are you ready? Adams Wealth Advisors specializes in preparing you for a secure retirement. There's no reason to feel frustrated. The team at Adams Wealth will create a personalized plan that includes timing of retirement, reliable income sources, Social Security, estate planning, and more. Adams Wealth Advisors has a team of CPA, certified financial planners, Social Security experts to help you plan and retire with confidence. Call today, 752-1702, or visit adamswealthadvisors.com. That's adamswealthadvisors.com. Your dream retirement starts here.
The chips and drinks are endless. The burrito is huge for only $7.95. It's got to be Cafe Sabor, Cache Valley's best Mexican restaurant and gold medal winner in the Best of Northern Utah contest. Experience Locals Day every Thursday with a huge burrito, endless chips and soda, only $7.95. Finding any lunch under $10 is nearly impossible. Every Thursday, drinks, chips, and a massive burrito. You pay just $7.95. The food, the fun at Cafe Sabor in the historic train station on 6th West and Center in Logan.
Winter's here, and that old car sitting in the driveway isn't getting any warmer. Turn that frozen junker into cold hard cash with DD Auto and Salvage in Logan. It's never too cold, too wet, or too late to clean up and cash out. DD Auto and Salvage makes it quick and easy. They'll even pick it up for you. Get the most money possible for junk vehicles or scrap metal. Clear it out. Get the cash today. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. And let DD Auto and Salvage pay you today. DD Auto and Salvage. Cold cars turned into hot cash.
Who do you turn to if you want to change out your wood or pellet stove? Advanced Fireplace and Stove. They were voted the gold medalist for Best of Northern Utah for the 5th year in a row in the fireplace retrofit category. Be ready when the government's next wood and pellet replacement incentives pop up. Advanced Fireplace can help you navigate the paperwork. For more information, call Advanced Fireplace and Stove, 752-7272. Online at advancedfireplaceandstove.com.
We're talking with Tyson from Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning about air quality.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that the air inside your home is 5 times worse than the air outside.
So Tyson, what can people do?
We install steam humidifiers into homes. Steam humidifiers use 1 gallon of water per hour, and they use 100% of that 1 gallon to humidify the air in your home. So if you call Mountain Valley, we'll come out and do a free assessment and see if it's a good fit for you. The phone number is 435-753-5170.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. It's the Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Indoor air in our area can be up to 5 times dirtier than outdoor air, especially during dry winter months, and it's definitely been dry here lately. And that dry air keeps dust and allergens floating longer, sending them deeper into your lungs, making sickness more likely. Mountain Valley Heating and Air installs high-efficiency steam humidifiers that use 1 gallon of water with no waste to improve the air quality in your own home. Call 435-753-5170 for a free in-home air quality assessment from Mountain Valley Heating and Air. That's 435-753-5170. Appreciate Brice Larson coming on and joining us. He is a sports radio guy in Salt Lake, but definitely a part of the broadcasting crew that follows Utah Valley very closely. There's been a lot of drama between Utah Valley and the WAC. And I get it if there's disagreements over exit fees and things like that, but to deny the student athletes opportunities to advance in competition, that seems really, really petty. Like, settle it in the courts, in the legal courts. Don't settle it on the athletic courts. Let the student athletes do that and the coaches. So, man, it's surprising what's going on there with the Western Athletic Conference, and hopefully they can get something figured out to allow those student athletes to continue to compete. And also fun to hear what's going on with Isaac Davis and Braden Housley as they found new homes in Orem, trying to help their team. Currently tied with, was it Cal Baptist in the WAC standings. Both are at 7-3, and Utah Tech just half a game behind at 7-4 in conference standings right now. But let's shift gears a little bit and talk about another school trying to make a move, and that's Sacramento State. They've been kind of a punching bag for us. Like, they're fun to make fun of, and they make it easy for some of the things that they say and things that they do. But the latest is, like, we all know they're making it very obvious that they want to move to the football at least, but everything else they want to move up. They want to be FBS in football. They've been an FCS team for a long time, but they applied to the NCAA to give them a waiver. They don't have an invitation from anybody, but they still wanted to move up and be an independent in football. But the NCAA said, no, you need an invitation. We're going to deny the waiver. We already have too many schools at the FBS level. It used to be pretty cheap to move up, and they continue to increase that entrance fee. Now it's up to $5 million. That doesn't go to another conference. It goes to the NCAA for the right to compete and move up. And so the latest thing from Sacramento State is, well, they tried to make overtures toward the Pac-12. They even bought billboards. They even had conversations with the Mountain West. Those don't seem to be going anywhere. So now the latest is, look, we will pay a lot of money just for you to take a flyer on us. And basically the proposals that a couple of different reporting outlets are suggesting that they're throwing out there, the school has offered upwards of $10 million as an entry fee to whatever conference will take them, plus the forfeiture of conference revenues for a certain stretch of time. And that seems to be undetermined, but it would mirror what SMU did with the ACC to get into the ACC just a few years ago. But again, that $10 million buy-in to whatever conference will take them does not include the $5 million it would take to pay the NCAA to move from FCS to FBS. So they're willing to give up $15 million just for the right to be in FBS. But as we mentioned, the Mountain West and Pac-12 have turned them down. Like, they're not interested in that. So to do this, like, where else do you go? And apparently one conference that's kind of looking at this is the Mid-American Conference. So not only are they going to fork over a ton of money to move up and to be able to play at this level, they're willing to fork over even more money for travel considerations to be in the MAC. But they're already moving conferences. They're going to transition from the Big Sky to the Big West, but there's no football in the Big West. So they're basically an independent FCS team looking for ways to play football. Now, here's some of the things about Sacramento State that they always try to remind everybody about is that they have a big student body, about 30,000. They're in a nice, large metropolitan area that doesn't have any other football competing interests. Sacramento, about 2 million people in that area, which is like a ranked 20th national TV market. And that's all well and good, but you don't really have much to speak of. I mean, the football stadium is not good. They've talked about making improvements and then building an entirely new one altogether. So they're making all kinds of financial promises that they haven't been able to back up quite yet. But to their credit, they are trying some things. I mean, they're trying to get some big names behind their program. They got Mike Bibby as their basketball coach. Still not sure if he's actually going to be good. They got Shaquille O'Neal to be an honorary or voluntary general manager. So, I mean, I guess you give him credit for that. But according to a conference executive with knowledge of their plans, this is according to some original reporting by Ross Dellinger on Yahoo Sports. One conference executive with knowledge of the plan says, quote, they do have money. Now, part of the criticism of Sacramento State was they were making these overtures about all the NIL commitments that they had and all the financial backing that would be available to them. And other schools were scoffing at this, like, really, if you have that much money, you have more money than a good chunk of P4 programs. Like, if you have that money, why are you still in FCS? Why do you still have a bad football stadium? Why do you have all these other issues? So there's a lot of like bluster out of Sacramento, but they don't have a lot to go behind it. The old saying is that all hat, no cattle for the Sacramento State team is they're trying to put on a big show, but do they really have anything to to really back it up. But the MAC, maybe looking at it like it's hard to turn down $10 million that's going to go straight to your bottom line, and you don't have to pay over anything to them. You don't have to do any conference distributions, bowl distributions, NCAA distributions. I mean, maybe you take a flyer on them. Now, the MAC is losing Northern Illinois in football to the Mountain West, so maybe this is how they replace them. But just consider that they're totally on an island compared to everybody else in the MAC. But for football, maybe it's not that critical. But the ongoing saga with Sacramento State, it just continues to be weird. All right, we're going to take another quick time out here in the Full Court Press. When we come back, since we're talking football, we'll have one other interesting football note. The awards last night in the NFL, handing out a lot of significant honors and recognitions. The Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Bobby Wagner, former Utah State Aggie, has been a nominee many, many, many different times, whether he was a member of the Seattle Seahawks, the LA Rams, or the Washington Commanders. Last night, he finally got the award and got the recognition he sorely deserves. We're going to play his acceptance speech. A lot of really interesting stories about his mother. A shout out for his dad. And a great speech by Bobby Wagner as he was recognized as the Walter Payton Man of the Year, a recognition the NFL gives out to the player who really does the best to connect with the community, charitable events, helping those that are underserved. And last night, finally, Bobby Wagner getting that recognition. We'll play his full acceptance speech next on the Full Court Press.
This is Jordan with Primrose Home Care and Hospice, and I'm here with Barbara. Barbara, how did you become acquainted with Primrose?
I had been trying to get another company to come and help me, and I had waited about 2 weeks, and I needed a bath. My neighbor suggested that she would make a few phone calls, and that very afternoon, Mark Stokes was sitting in my front room, and he said, "What do you need?"
Primrose Home Care and Hospice. We're your home team.
Kids get snow days. Contractors take winters off. But Top Shed doesn't. Snowing, freezing, Mother Nature throws a tantrum, we keep building. From sheds to backyard retreats to chicken coops, Top Shed builds on-site in your community across northern Utah, southern Idaho, and Wyoming. If your backyard's ready, we're ready. Because Mother Nature can't cancel us. Top Shed, making sheds great again. Call 435-760-7766 or visit topshedusa.com.
Fall in love all over again this Valentine's at the Riverwood Sweetheart Soiree. Join us February 14th from 6 to 9 p.m. for an unforgettable evening of romance. Enjoy a gourmet prime rib buffet complete with irresistible sweetheart desserts. Savor every moment while enjoying live music from Kellen and Kendall, setting the perfect mood for the evening. And sip and smile with an all-you-can-drink soda bar. Make this Valentine's more than dinner. Make it an experience at the Riverwood Sweetheart Soiree. Visit riverwoodsvalentinebuffet.planningpod.com. riverwoodsvalentinebuffet.planningpod.com.
Hi, this is Robbie with LSS Insurance. If you're about to turn 65, the Medicare phone calls, mailers, and emails can be unreal. Out-of-market telemarketers simply do not understand Utah, Idaho, or your individual situation. We have real answers and real solutions with local help. At LSS Insurance, we are your health insurance specialists. Call us 752-9493. Having local help makes all the difference, and there's no cost to you. Call 752-9493 or visit lssins.com.
The Full Court Press. Connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and online at 1069thefan.com.
Last night, the NFL held their annual awards and recognized Coach of the Year, MVP, things like that. But what the NFL itself calls its most prestigious award, the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, went to Bobby Wagner, former Utah State linebacker, who had a tremendous career here, has had a Hall of Fame career in the NFL, but also a very significant impact that he has been able to perform off the field, wherever he has been. and doing it in a way that helps people that need help, partnering with local hospitals and a bunch of different organizations to help them where they struggle sometimes, getting the help they need. And so he finally got the recognition that he has deserved. Now, every team nominates one player from their team to be considered for this award. And as mentioned, Bobby Wagner has been his team representative many different times. And this year he won it and beat out everybody else and was recognized for his work. And we thought it would be fitting to hear if you missed it last night, to hear his full and emotional acceptance speech last night, where he pays a lot of tribute to his mother.
Man, it's hot. I really didn't think I was going to win this award. I almost didn't even come, to be honest. I'm glad I did. I want to thank the Payton family. I want to thank Nationwide for honoring me. I want to thank my family. I'm truly grateful for the love and support. I'm going to talk about my mom a lot, but before I do that, I want to talk about my dad because I feel like a lot of the times, when my mom passed, that was the person that they asked about the most because they wanted to know how I was dealing with it. And my dad was right there and helping me out a lot, and he was kind of the silent person in my corner that doesn't get the love that he always deserves. So I want to take this time to thank him too. I didn't realize how hard it was to be a father until I got 2 kids of my own. And I realized there's a lot of work that goes unseen, a lot of sacrifices that they make, a lot of time spent away trying to provide for a family. And it made me appreciate the job that he did. So I'm truly grateful for him. But y'all seen the picture, man. I cannot be up here and not talk about my mom. She is and will ever be my rock. She's the reason why I'm standing up here. She's a person that had, confidence in me when I didn't even have confidence in myself. A quick story, I had one job before the NFL, just one, and I only had it for about a month. I got fired. But she kind of pulled me aside and, she was asking me after I got fired, like, why was I working? And I told her I was working to help her and help the family out. And she told me, nah, like, I really feel like you can make it to the league and I want you to focus on that. And she said, I got you. And those words always ring in my ear. Every time I try to help somebody, every time I see somebody in need, I say, I got you. Because we are look at this room. This room is truly blessing, a truly special room full of so many amazing people, and there's so much we can do together. I know there's a lot of craziness going on in this world right now, but there's not much this room can accomplish, and we can be the people that say to the world that I got you. And so as the world looks crazy, as things get crazy, somebody's going to be looking up to somebody, wondering if they have somebody that said, I got you, and I hope that I'm the light to say that I got you. And me standing here is my mom in current flesh, and she's not able to be here, but she lives through me, and everything I do is for her, and I honor her every chance that I get. Her love and support is the reason why I'm standing here, and I wouldn't be here without her. And so, again, every time y'all see my face, every time y'all see me do something y'all consider that's cool or dope, just know that it's her, and I'm in the flesh, and she's not here right now, but she's here through me. And so there's no way that I can accept this award without saying you are really thanking her. So thank you, guys.
There you go. What a speech from Bobby Wagner. He is in the Utah State Athletics Hall of Fame. He will be in the NFL Hall of Fame, and he will be the USU commencement speaker later this year. Really cool to hear him pay tribute to his parents, and what a great example to a lot of people in what he embodies and how he tries to help others. Bobby Wagner, recognized by the NFL last night in their awards ceremony. One other thing that we wanted to play back for you is what Coach Jerrod Calhoun has to say as his team is getting ready to take on Wyoming. Aggies are going to be in Laramie, take on the Cowboys tomorrow night. Pre-game coverage on our sister station KVNU starting at 5, tip-off at 6 on CBS Sports Network. If you want to watch it, we'll have full play-by-play on KVNU, 102.1 FM, 610 AM, KVNUtalk.com, and the KVNU mobile app. But what does the coach have to say about the Cowboys? And these teams faced each other not that long ago. Not a lot's changed between the two teams. But Coach Calhoun met with the media earlier this afternoon to preview the matchups and get us ready for a showdown in Laradice.
Coach, this is Jason Walker. You had a game against Colorado State where you played them at home. Really good result. That was a lot closer on the road. Kind of similar situation here. You beat Wyoming by 32 at home. Do you expect maybe a similar situation where it could be a lot closer now that you're playing at their venue?
I think every game is different. I think there's certain points in the season and, different things that happen throughout a game. So every game has a life of its own. I think you got to prepare for, a tough team, right? I mean, obviously Wyoming played San Diego State at Viejas really well. They beat Colorado State at home. They're 11-3 at home. Every team in the country plays better at home. So road wins are hard to come by. Bennett and Davis, Bennett and Davis are playing really well. Or Dennis is playing really, really well. Shooting the ball at a high clip. Bennett's been incredible. He's averaging like 17 and 7. They do a great job of crashing the glass. So we're expecting a very physical, tough Wyoming team.
I don't know. Can you hear me, Coach?
I can hear you.
Okay, sorry. I'm having issues. I always have issues. Talk a little. It seems like Wyoming's a little banged up too. I mean, I guess it's just the same approach. You just face whoever they put out on the court at that night.
Yeah, they have 2 big kids. We'll see if they play. We're gonna, we just got here today, so we'll anticipate them playing. Adjust if they're not, but. Their bigs are very tough. They do a great job of screening. They do a great job of getting to the offensive glass. Their bigs play a big part of their success. So we're going to assume they're playing. Until we get that injury report tomorrow, we won't have any clue.
Have you had any updates on Zach Keller, his likelihood to play?
Yeah, I mean, I think he will. We're getting ready to practice right now, in about 2 hours. So we stayed in Albuquerque, practiced there last night, got here this afternoon, and we're going to practice tonight. So we're gonna think that he will, but I think the next 24 hours we're going to list him as questionable, but we'll see probably tonight how he looks.
How is this? This is kind of a different little bit of a road trip where you stay out on the road a little bit longer. Talk a little bit about maybe the good parts of that, getting closer as a team and just being able to spend some time together.
Yeah, it just, Sean, it didn't make much sense to travel back. The game was so late that I really believe that the next days of sleep is really, really important. So by the time the guys unwound, it was probably 2 a.m. Let them sleep in, spent the day in Albuquerque, prepared in the morning a little bit with film, and then practiced last night. I just think this time of year is really important for sleep. It's really important to kind of, slow down their routines and make sure that their bodies are recovering at a really good rate.
Hey, Coach Matt, this is Patrick Mayhorn. This is when they play both sides. You were able to limit those fouls in the last game. How did the team do that, and how do you do that again here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, in the Mountain West is so physical, right? So just limiting the amount of times you go to the foul line, to me, comes down to your closeouts, how you close on the ball with your hands up. And then on drives, we got to chest drives. We got to continue to chest the drive, not get fouls that are really fouls we can control. We play pretty aggressive. We try to force a lot of steals, but we got to continue to have a high intelligence defense and keep people off the foul line to make them earn it. Because in the half court, we're elite. We're an elite half court defensive team. So you got to run good offense to stay out of transition. I think that's really important. And then just be really smart on our closeouts.
Last time when you guys faced the Wyoming, went with the zone, maybe hoping that when you, like the 4 games before you faced Wyoming last time, you hadn't shot well from 3. Maybe they're hoping you would do that again when they went with that zone. But you've had some good 3-point shooting. Do you expect them to maybe try and go back to that zone, or maybe try some other wrinkles to slow you guys down, since the zone obviously didn't work against you guys?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good game plan because that's what UNLV did. I thought we had one of those shooting nights that, you'll have a couple times a year where the ball's just, going in. So I don't know. I think they definitely will do it on blobs. We're going to anticipate they'll do it in the half court, so we will prep for that. But they do a really good job of changing up their game plans defensively. They also run a lot of stuff. They run Spain actions. They run flares, brushes, exit screens. They do a really good job of switching up their package from game to game. So it's kind of a lot to dissect in a short period of time. So we'll prepare for both man and zone, and then kind of just see what the game presents.
Has your guys been able to kind of come down to earth after that big win on late Wednesday night?
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is it's certainly a big win, obviously a quad 1 win. It's a resume building win, but Wyoming's a quad 2. They're a really good team. They're going to win a lot of games. But it's not just about the quads, right? It's about continuing to improve. I think that's the hardest thing for kids to do is, really kind of stay focused on the process of what goes into a game. So just really stressing that, whether it's film sessions or practice, we've got to be really good, and then try to carry out game plans, right? And then be able to adjust. Our halftime adjustments have been good. The kids are really listening to the messaging, right? And, I think, that's a big key to our success is staying present, but also you're chasing a championship, right? You're trying to win a conference championship. It's not easy doing that, but we're in a good position. But every game is different. We did a really good job the last 2 games with our defense. That needs to continue to be a staple of our team.
Wyoming's been one of the better rebounding teams in the conference. And you guys went, I think it was even last time, 36 rebounds apiece. Just how big is the rebounding battle going to be again, especially grabbing defensive rebounds?
Massive. I think that's, the number 1 key outside of turnovers. They have so many guys that go to the offensive glass, not just their bigs, their guards. They rebound by committee. It's something you can see in film that he really stresses. They do a great job. We got to continue to be better defensively. We're certainly doing a great job on the offensive glass, but we got to be elite on both sides for sure.
I'm curious, obviously you're playing a lot at altitude out here just in general. Most of the games in the Mountain West are going to be at altitude, but Laramie is still a step above pretty much everywhere else. How do you prepare for that sort of on, short notice?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of why we came in the day before. Studies show that's scientifically and, medically, that's the best thing to do, spend the least amount of time, with that. But I don't know. I think it's a problem for sure. I mean, it's, their players are used to it, but we play a lot of guys. So I think, keeping guys fresh, Patrick, will help. I saw where, Coach Wicks gave Brian Dutcher one of those oxygen things as a parting gift. So I don't know if he'll do that for me or not. But I think, playing a lot of guys early could help.
So there's Coach Calhoun as Utah State gets ready for Wyoming. I don't know if Wyoming will give a parting gift to Utah State or not. We'll have to see tomorrow when they square off at 6 o'clock in Laramie. Quick timeout. We'll be right back here on the Full Court Press.
It's cold outside, but you can keep warm inside with a quality-built, super-efficient York furnace. Count on a furnace from York because it's backed by the strongest warranties available. Call Advanced Heating and Air Conditioning, your local York dealer, at 752-7272. Online at advancedheating-ac.com.
We're not comfortable until you are. Advanced Heating and Air.
What do Valentine's Day and Jerrod's have in common? They're both all about the romance. Jerrod's Fine Jewelry has a great selection for your sweetheart. Don't sweat it out worrying about where to get the perfect gift. We've recently added a 3D laser engraver. Now through Valentine's, Jerrod's will personalize any jewelry purchase for no additional charge. We can engrave a wedding date, a name, or any message on most jewelry, like a pendant, watch, bracelet, the inside or outside of a ring. This Valentine's, let us help personalize your gift and make it special. Make it Jerrod's.
Les Olson IT's structured cabling is second to none. Tired of old and inefficient cabling? Have an upgrade or remodel planned? Building a new network from the ground up? We offer the very best in low voltage cabling installation, including data, phone, fiber optic, and more. Ask us how to get your free consultation today.
Les Olson IT.
Talking the sports you care about. The Full Court Press on Sports Talk Radio, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.
Welcome back to the Full Court Press. Getting to a Full Court Press, a Young Power Sports of Logan text line. Apologies to 5338 for not getting this sooner, but excited that the Olympics are finally here. What I'm not excited about is NBC's horrible TV coverage, where I know I'm going to see a lot of commercials, a lot of figure skating, and not much else. Very true. I am excited for the Olympics. I'm excited to see athletes and events that I don't normally watch. But you're right. To see those games or those performances or those competitions, I have to find them. I have to seek them out and find them on other channels, because NBC main channel, they love the figure skating. But they do that because the ratings back it up. So all those, there's a lot of people who love to watch that stuff, but that's not me. So yeah, you may have to try to find stuff on Peacock or USA Network or CNBC. I don't know all the stations they're going to utilize, but yeah, I mean, I am excited for the Olympics. Opening ceremony is happening today, and Olympics getting underway this weekend. 4781 texting in: hockey players are more talented on skates than figure skaters. Changed my mind. I can't. I totally agree with you. That is a 100% accurate statement. With much more power, maybe not quite as much grace. Sometimes they do have enough grace on those skates. I wanted to quickly let you know about our schedule for high school games taking place tonight. Logan is at Ben Lomond. That's where Jason Walker is headed to take on the Scots, their final game of the regular season for Logan. They beat Ben Lomond earlier, so trying to find another win in the region for Logan High. Skyview taking on Ridgeline tonight here on The Fan. And then you've got Green Canyon on the road at Deseret Peak, and then Bear River on the road at Stansbury. That one really interesting because those two teams really close to each other in the standings. Skyview Ridgeline also could be very intriguing with where they're at in the standings. Final rankings will be revealed tomorrow morning, as these are the last games in the regular season before everybody lines up for the postseason, which gets underway officially on Tuesday. So who gets a first-round bye, who's hosting a game next week, who has to go on the road, that will all be determined. And games tonight can have a factor, can play a role in that. So all the details about broadcast coverage, which stations these will be on, how to watch these games, you can find it all on CashValleyDaily.com. Again, big thanks to Brice Larson for joining me earlier. Interesting stuff going on between the WAC and Utah Valley. Also interesting to see what's going on with the Aggies with their showdown with Wyoming tomorrow night. Pregame at 5, tip-off at 6 on KVNU Saturday, early evening, late afternoon, as the Aggies try to stay pace on top of the Mountain West. That's going to do it for us. Have a great one, everybody.
Northern Utah and Southern Idaho's home for sports. KLGN Logan, 106.9 FM, 1390 AM. The Fan.